All right. Well, welcome. It's Jennie Wolek here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Wolek Group, Keller Williams Realty. So excited to see you guys today. Thanks for hanging out. We will rock and roll through this last series of talking about strategies 5 and 6 of the 6 Power Through a Shift strategy. So as you know, if you've attended the previous sessions, 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 4, they are posted inside of your Journey with Jennie, the group. Just search for Power Through a Shift and you can find these videos and you can watch them again. You can share them. They're great for training purposes. If you are ever onboarding new people, you can use any of the content I've ever recorded to share with team members. I think that's a great tool as well. So everything that we talk about today comes from the teachings of Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, Dave Jinks, because they wrote the book called Shift. And you for sure have a copy. I know you've already read it, but sometimes there's just good nuggets in here that we need to come back and reflect on. Well, what KW University has done is they've taken, instead of all 12 tactics that were written back with the last market shift, they've just updated to 6 and they've tweaked them just a little bit. So it's stuff you've already heard before, but dang great reminders for us to be maximizing our time, our energy, and our focus in this new market. No matter what, you've had a little bit of a shift in the market. I am certain, because in Tulsa, Oklahoma, we're always the last to feel things, and we're feeling things here. It first came when we started feeling homes not sell as fast. So slowly days on market was happening. Interest rates creeped up. That put a pause on lots of buyers. So lots of little things have been happening, but it's nothing to be scared of. It's just a time to relearn and re-educate ourselves. So today we're going to dive all into the material. I'm going to present. I'll take pauses. We'll come back and chat. And of course, if you guys need anything, let me know. Let's get this party started. Now, I would love to hear just from somebody if they want to unmute themselves. Are you able to see my screen? It says Power Through a Shift.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yay.
We see it.
Yes.
There we go. Then let's get this party started. So you know what you're doing here today. We're going to talk about these different strategies of how you can power through a shift. It's not about the market. It's what you do. Now, we have met before and we have already talked about our mindset and getting into action and expense management and leverage in all the ways that we can leverage and lead generation. And today leads us to another one of my favorite topics, which is lead conversion and follow-up. It's all about staying in touch because we know fortune is in the follow-up. And then at the second half of our time together, we'll get into some really good stuff around resetting expectations, because I would bet that are having some different conversations with buyers and sellers these days. All right, so getting to the table, it's all about converting it. See, all of last session, we talked about lead generation. It's our #1 job description. And lead follow-up is our second job description, but equally as important, if not just a bit more, because what's the point of all this effort of you putting in this energy and time, blood, sweat, and tears into calling people and connecting if you're not going to follow up and take the next steps of converting them to an appointment? And that's what TABLE stands for here. TABLE means getting face-to-face and presenting your value proposition. So Gary even says, leads don't even matter if they don't turn into business. So why are you even wasting your time generating if you don't have a follow-up plan? I know that sounds brutal, but it's really, really true. Don't even lead generate if you're not going to do anything with that effort. So today, the challenge, though, becomes of getting to the table and getting the agreement, because maybe you're not having the opportunity and as many conversations with buyers or sellers because of different expectations or realities of what they perceive is going on in the market. Now, I love a good graphic. I am super visual and I like seeing the flow of what is happening in our businesses. So this is directly from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It's the lead generation model. You have to I love all these C's. Remember your 4 C's of lead generation. You're going to capture that lead. meaning you've got a phone number or an email, you know their name. That is capturing the lead. And now you have to connect, have a two-way conversation to determine if they are needing your assistance and building rapport and creating that relationship. Now, the next step is to go to a closing. You close them. And a very simple close is, well, it sounds like the most logical next step is for us to go ahead and get together face to face where we can just chat through some more of your plans and how I could best help you. And they will say yes or no. Now, if not right now is the answer, then you have, done your part, and that happens because timing always is different for everyone. Then they go right back up in here into number 4, which is cultivate. And the cultivate is building and nurturing that relationship. It's a not right now. It's not a no, get out of here, get lost. So that there still is hope and possibility. So today's objectives inside of this follow-up section, the conversion, is about having a conversion mindset so that we understand it's not a no, it's not a negative, it might just be a not right now. And if not, let's get to face and go ahead and talk about how I can help you. How are your systems? Do you have systems in place that help you remember to do that follow-up? Again, because otherwise, what's the point? And now evaluating your systems for connecting. How are you doing? Because you got to have some results. How are you going to measure your results? And then we got to get to the appointment. And so how are your closings? Everything starts with our mindset. The model that we have run through this whole series is that we get real and then we get right. So the getting real is our mindset when it comes to conversion. Now, here's the thing. Every single one of these strategies has a 6 personal perspective attached to it. And so it's not surprising that today's perspective relates to removing our limiting beliefs. See, here's my truth. In my early days of real estate, I had a fear of calling people. Maybe people I knew, maybe people I didn't know, maybe leads, referrals. I always had this fear because I thought I was bugging them. And that would be my mindset would be, I don't want to bug them. See, I was just putting this assumption on how they would be thinking about me. And instead, I just switched it from, I'm not bugging them. In fact, I'm really great at helping people and I'm just offering help. And from there, that changed everything for me. Removing that limiting belief opened up my whole world to not being attached to the outcome of whichever direction that conversation went. So think about your limiting beliefs, whether it's in lead generation or conversion or appointments. What is holding you back and how can you switch it around? Because we know that in a shifting market of the kind that we're feeling, which means a little bit of a slowdown in production, it could also be seasonal, right? Seasonality is a thing. And so make sure you are really versed on what your local market seasonality looks like. Our MLS, I can go to statistics and I can see the trend throughout a year, throughout history. And there is always an up and down. The market is higher during certain months. So that's okay. And let's be prepared and have our mindset ready as well as our skills, knowing that there may be fewer opportunities. And so we have to treat each one as such precious, important opportunity, but also determining, because our time is valuable as well, what's our dollar per hour on working and converting these leads. Are they really able, ready, and willing to buy? So we then will make sure that we are practicing our scripts and we're role playing our skills and our presentations so that when we do get to the point of asking for an appointment, we're ready to go and helping them through the process. So that's our mindset. And now is our action shift. You got to get real, get right. And getting right is getting into action. And so remember, these are 3 of the C's. We've got to capture them, connect with them, and then convert them to an appointment. So from Shift, they say conversion success comes to those who intentionally and repeatedly do these 3 things. So if this is your mantra and your chant, Let's go. I'm going to capture, connect, and close. Capture, connect, and close. Can you tell I was a little cheerleader? But yeah. Okay, so once again, another beautiful graphic, because again, I like seeing what's happening and where I am in the process. So again, this comes from the red book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So at the top is our lead generation efforts. We are doing two different things to generate leads. We're prospecting, which is proactive, outbound, searching for people to help. And we're marketing, which is more passive and like a billboard and an email newsletter and social media ads and posts, right? So we're doing the two at the same time, and we're capturing people and we put them in our database. Now, when they get filtered into our database, there's two places they go. They're a lead. I don't know them yet, because I haven't had a conversation to where I have had a two-way. This is more of a one-way conversation, and contacts become a two-way relationship. And we're going to build up rapport, and I'm going to have conversations with them to convert them into whether they're ready to meet or not, and what their timeline is and what their needs are. And that's how I'm going to proceed with them from there. So with the conversion, they are either a new client. All right, let's go. It sounds like now is the time. Or maybe they share a referral, and that's a great option too. But either way, we now have this client loop here at the bottom that stays a part of your management, your relationship management system, right? So that means they're receiving your touches, your emails, your invitations to events and giveaways, your quarterly calls, your do the database too. Either way, somebody starts here as a lead and they get filtered on through the system. And no matter what, unless they say, bye-bye, never talk to me again, they should stay inside of your relationship management system. We want to always be able to gather data. That's why it's called a database. Is building a database with information on them, their name, their phone number, their email, their physical address. That's the ideal must-have information. And then the extra nice to have stuff, and you guys know this as you're building your database, and if you're social media friends on Facebook, you can absolutely capture their birthday. So they get a birthday card and a call, you know, their home anniversary if you helped them. And then you can utilize the Ford conversations, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams to build connection and rapport and know what's going on in their lives. And that goes in your database. So the next time you talk to them, you can follow up and see how those things are going in their lives. It means that you care. Now, some of us sometimes think, well, I don't even know, I don't have anybody new to add to my database, but maybe you need this little memory jogger. Like, what'd you do today? Where'd you go? Who'd you encounter? Who'd you interact with? Sometimes I'll just get the reminders because I scroll and I see something on Facebook and I go, oh my gosh, I went to high school with her and she's not in my database. And then I'll friend her and comment or somehow pull that person from offline into my a person in my real life here locally, face to face, right? So with buyers and sellers, we have some great questions. I think sometimes we overcomplicate it on like, what would I say if I talk to them? Well, buyers are very simple. So if they're reaching out to you to buy a home, well, what's prompting you to move? What's the timeline? What price range do you have in mind? If you're needing to obtain a mortgage, have you spoken with a lender, or do you need a recommendation? And now, do you own the place that you're living in now, or are you renting? Because that then tells you if they are also a seller. Now, the seller has similar questions. What's prompting you to move? Well, there has to be some kind of life event that has occurred for people to buy or sell. So it's your job just to ask them. There's nothing wrong with that. How'd you hear about us? Oh, that's a great one. You got to track where they have come from, because that's where we want to always be focusing on our greatest lead sources. And so I always love this one. This is great. And I used to be so afraid of asking these types of questions that related to money, maybe because I was a younger person and just insecure with that. But now I know there's so much value. How much do you think your home is worth? I mean, people have access to the Zillow and other tools out there, or maybe some other realtors market snapshot that they have an idea of what their home is worth. Or we also ask because we want to see what their expectations are. And then we want to get some details about their home. And of course, I tease with this one, but for real, in the old days, I'd be so excited about a listing opportunity that I'd hang up the phone and forget to ask what their address was. Yep. That's always a fun call to make back. Yeah, so what's your address? Yeah, I've done it. So when it comes to positioning ourselves inside of their mind, this also goes back to our limiting beliefs, because I think a lot of us realtors think, oh, they don't need us. Like in today's market, they can just put a for sale sign in the yard and they'll probably sell, and that's possible. But here's the reality, guys, and this is what we have to remember, that sellers, this comes from National Association of Realtors, so a true resource for stats. And they say that sellers only talk to one agent. 74% of sellers that sold their homes talk to one agent. 15% talk to two, and then who cares about the rest? Because you get the idea here. The majority of sellers, if they are talking to you on the phone and you get the opportunity to meet with them face to face, you have a really great chance, at least 74% chance, they're just going to hire you, right? Unless you've turned them off and talked yourself out of the business, that maybe they'll go over and have to consider talking to somebody else. But I know you won't, because you're great. I remember that I learned quickly that if I made it to the table with them, that if I just didn't say something stupid, they would sign with me. And so I tease about that. But the idea here, though, is that make your appointments and your conversations to the point and about them, and not about you, except for if you are doing some kind of sharing a snapshot real quick of how you're going to help them, but it's not a brag time about how great you are. You are asking about them and helping them grow into discovering that you're the best option because you care. All right, a lot of extra wording there, but you guys are getting it here. So same with buyers. They will most likely use you if you have that conversation and get to the appointment. So go for it, right? Just be careful in making sure that you are making it about them and not you. So speed matters. So it doesn't even matter what market that you're in. Speed always matters. We have a standard on our team that if you receive a lead, you need to reach out to that lead ASAP. Speed matters, because if they are a lead source that you don't know, like an online lead source or a sign call lead, they're not just calling you. They're reaching out to anyone who will take the call. And that's how you capture people. So identifying if they're able, ready, and willing, and then you set an appointment. So those are great ways and things to remember. Now, we've already talked all about lead generation last session. So for time's sake, you guys get it. This is where they go back into that cultivate pot inside of your CRM and your relationship plan, that you're staying in touch with them. They're getting the appropriate message based on who they are and what's going on. Because when we're cultivating that relationship, even if it's not their time right now, they have friends, they have family, and you just never know who and where your next opportunity could come from. So without an appointment, conversion hasn't happened. Ouch. Yeah, it's like, I think sometimes we fool ourselves by having all these leads that we're following up with and tricking ourselves to think that those are clients or that they've been converted, because until they have become an appointment with you and sat down at the table, they are not. So we have to get real about that. So remember, we all, worked through the capturing, the connecting, the cultivating, and the closing. You guys, I sure hope you love this as much as I do, because now here is the point of close. There are lots of great trainings, and especially if you're going to family reunion, I know every year there's a session on closes. I can't remember the exact name of it, but I've definitely attended in the past. And these are kind of, maybe you already know these, but when you practice them, you really, I really like the assumptive close, for example. It sounds like we should meet. I'm available most times this week, so what works best for you? And so you're just going ahead and assuming the sale. Now, the bad thing about some of these closes is my daughter has used them on me. And so she would use the assumptive sale when I'd pick her up from school. She'd be like, "It's so great that you're going to take me to Target and Chick-fil-A after school today." Like already putting it into the universe that that's going to happen. It works, right? The take back close. I love this one too. I've really enjoyed visiting with you. To be honest, I'm not sure if I can help you or not, but I'd be honored if we could meet to find out. So you're kind of like, maybe I'm not for you. And they're going, "Oh, no. Yes, come on, bring it on. Let's meet." I really like being direct too. So this is for you guys to come back to later and just read through these and maybe practice some of your favorites. The direct close, I would do this all the time when showing houses with buyers. You know, that first time out, you've already had your consultation and they know how the process works. And we'd walk into that property and I go, "All right, do you love it?" And they'd be like, "Yes, it fits all our needs. We're so excited. It checks all the boxes." I'd be like, "Great. Well, then let's just cancel the rest of the appointments for today and go write an offer." They'd be like, whoa. Well, I don't know about that. Right. But you can get a feel of what their real motivation is. So great examples of how you can close. So learning how to respond and letting the conversation take its natural course, learn how to respond. In the end, if they can meet and have a good enough reason to meet, they will. And if they don't want to meet, that's okay too. You really don't care. Their answer ultimately is because you're not into getting people to do anything they don't want to do. Remember that. We cannot make somebody buy or sell their home. They have to make that decision. We're just going to provide them with information and education to help them through the process if now is the time. So you're just going to ask and respond until they agree that meeting with you does make sense. Either way, you win. Sometimes timing is not their time. Like it is, this is why having a long business, a successful business, I can tell you that nobody is on my timeline of when it's time for them to buy or sell. So my goals of earning X dollars of commission each year have nothing to do with when my database or my clients or my friends are ready to make a move. I can't control any of that. I can just continue to stay in relationship and flow with them so that when it is time, they will think of me because they respect that I have stayed in communication. All right, we got to be tracking. If you are using a CRM, whether it's Command or something else or another tool like CTE, tracking your conversion will really help you determine where are my gaps. You probably have some gaps. You might have dropped the ball. If you go on an appointment and you don't get the listing, what was the reason? If you go on an appointment and choose not to take the listing, was there a gap in your pre-qualification? Because on our team, we have a no jerks allowed policy. And so we know we do our best to pre-qualify all people, but sometimes we get there and we're like, we are not going to be in sync. And we do not have time or energy in this life to work with people that we're going to always be butting heads with. No commission, no dollar amount is worth the pain. And they're taking you off track of focusing on great people. Okay, so success happens. The pattern of these sessions that we've gone through so far, you've seen it already. We get real, we get right, and then we have an action plan. And so what are you going to do when it comes to this category of lead conversion and follow-up? What are you going to do and where are you to, what do you need to put in place? First, we have to realize every potential every lead that you talk to, every person out there could turn into business. And we really must treat them as precious commodities because they are. And we have to really work on our skills to determine where they are. Are they able to qualify, and and they have the funds to do so? And are they ready, meaning they have the motivation and they're willing to actually do it based on the current market? All of those have to be in sync. And then we got to remember that we're going to just keep our cultivation system going. It's just that funnel. We're going to keep churning and turning and nurturing until they are ready. And that's what a follow-up system is all about. So no lead is left behind. So using our sales ability and knowledge of the market to move people from inquiry to closed transaction. This is when they come to you as a lead of some kind or a referral, however they get to you, and pulling them all the way through that funnel so that they become a closed client. They share a referral, they share a review, they go back in, and they just stay a part of your touch program. Oh, we got to ask for the appointment, of course. So this is what we talked about in this getting to the table section. Let's just pause here for a minute, and I want to hear from some of you. What do you hear so far inside of, I'm going to put where I can see all you guys, where you need some additional ideas or conversation around any of that? Anything? Any ahas? Who's that? Katie. Hi, Katie.
Hey there. I just have an aha.
Yeah.
I'm like writing notes down like you wouldn't believe.
Good.
Something that really resonated with me early on for my big aha was it just really does start with mindset. A lot of the things that you were saying are things that, I carry on in my head, which I just got to get past it and remove that limiting belief. And I like this unlimiting belief. So that's what I'm going to focus on. It's just getting right in my head and putting all that other junk aside. And so moving forward will be easier.
Well, and I'll just share, if it's okay, Katie, you have many years in the business.
Yeah.
You're not a brand new agent. And so this is the reminder that it doesn't matter what level you're at or years in the business, you can still have thoughts that hold you back.
Totally.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else have any ahas or ideas?
I have a question for you. Yeah.
Okay.
In the past, I've lost a couple of listings, and one was with a client, and it was because I wouldn't decrease my commission.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't feel like I should, and I don't want to start that. And I don't know, I guess I would just like to hear your thoughts or somebody else's thoughts on that.
I love that. So I'm with you. I don't think that I should have to, and I can't believe you'd even ask, but here's the deal. Many people's behavioral style is one that at least wants to ask if they can get a deal, right? That's just kind of human behavior for some, not for me, but some people are like that. And with a past client, I remember one guy, he's a multiple time past client, and he asked me, and I'm like, really? Like, I just looked at him and I go, really, Aaron? Really? I said, listen up. But, and that response was different than somebody I didn't know, because he's in sales, and I was just a little taken back he would even ask. But how I would really do it, Sheila, is whenever you are presenting to them, I mean, even if you know them, even if you worked with them in the past, they still get your full-on presentation, which means you start with the needs analysis of what their wants and needs are, and then you may open up your presentation and share with them all the things that you do to help them to show your value proposition. And then the other thing that we always point out, and it's really big in our book, and you have a copy of it, and I'll send it to you guys again for our Momentum members, but inside of that, we have the average agent gets the list price to sales price, right? So in your local MLS, you can see the average of list price to sales price. That's an average. Now, I bet your list price to sales price is higher.
Mhm.
Typically ours are, right? Well, what ours ends up being is about 1% higher than the average in our MLS. And so my conversation, Sheila, would be, well, see, here's the deal. The average agent will sell your home at this price and we will sell it at this price, which is 1% right there. So basically we're getting you more money in your pocket.
Mhm.
So, no need to reduce our commission because we're going to help you net more money.
Okay.
Kind of spin it around that way.
Yeah.
Mindy's probably got something really good.
Okay. Thanks.
I literally just finished signing on the dotted lines 5 minutes ago on a listing I just took, that I interviewed with them 2 days ago. And I don't know what's happening with my voice here, but anyway, and so what I did was I brought them a sheet that was shared, I think at Family Reunion, that was like a 3-tiered pricing system, but it didn't show any percents on there. It just showed what the services are at each of them. And I went in and I said, so there's the gold, the platinum, and whatever the other one was, the diamond, whatever. So I said, so this percent, this percent, this percent, and this is a condo. And so I said, you really don't, I said, most people will go with the middle one. I said, you don't need that for this property because I'm not going to be able to do some of these things. So I would recommend, and she hired me at what I typically get paid for these properties, did not even argue with me. She said that she appreciated the fact that I told her that she did not need that higher package.
Yeah.
That was one of the things.
And a lot of times those sliding scales will start at 6% or whatever your number is.
Yep, that's where it started.
Yeah. So whatever, I'm not going to say what the percent is for you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But whatever your normal is, and then you go up from there. So they see that you could do more and they're like, I'm good with this one. And it's your full price.
And
right?
the interesting thing is that I met with my team leader last week and we were going over my budget and business planning. And she said, if you want to take more listings, you might want to consider lowering your commission because you charge more than most of the agents in our office. And I went, I don't think so. I said, if they don't know their worth, it doesn't mean I have to drop to the bottom denominator.
There you go.
I also made a video. I know you're on a time schedule. I had also made a video that I sent to my client yesterday, just kind of recapping, showing some of my marketing and how I would present this. And I said, if anybody else is going to discount their price, what services are they discounting? And bottom line, like Jenny said, I said, it's really about not what I get paid. It's about how much you end up with in your pocket. And wouldn't you want to end up with more in your pocket?
Yeah. Great stuff there. Yeah. This could be a whole nother thing, right? And so what we'll get into, Sheila, in the next section, which we're ready to rock and roll into, is all about resetting expectations. And with a bit of an evolving, changing market, there may be different conversations like reduction of commission. This is not a new objection, right? We've always had it. And so let's dive into that if you guys are ready. Okay, share my screen again and pop you up here. Maybe, there we go. Okay, this is just my little plug here. I am a franchise owner of Cyberbacker in Arkansas and Oklahoma. If you have some interest in Cyberbacker, which is virtual leverage, last week was all about leverage, then you are so welcome to scan this code and get some more information. I will say we have 3 Cyberbackers on our team and they are all amazing. If you follow the Wolek Group on social media, all of our posts and our graphics are designed by an amazing 25-year-old in the Philippines. So talent is out there and it's an affordable way to get some talent. Okay, so today, next we're going to go on over number 6. We're already getting through this, and the resetting of expectations inside of a shifting market. And I know it sounds like I don't want it to be doom and gloom and, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, because that's not true. And we know it's not true because we still have low inventory across the country. Even in the middle of America, Tulsa, Oklahoma, we're still under 3 months supply of inventory. That is still a seller's market. And so this is no like fear tactic at all, but you're going to have different conversations when anything adjusts inside of supply and demand. So this is all about just resetting some expectations of what they've gone through and what we've all gone through in the past couple years. And we need to then remember what's all going on. Are you guys able to see my screen? Yes.
Yes, we see
Okay.
it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Quick question,
Yeah.
Jenny. What
Uh-huh.
was that percentage that correlates to a seller's market?
Okay, well, just wait 1 second and I'll tell you. I will tell you. It is all inside a shift. And I think we got a slide coming up here in a minute. So remember that opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. Well, this is from Thomas Edison. I actually went to Edison High School here in Tulsa. And this reminder is, yeah, there may be fewer leads. You might have to work a little harder than you have the past couple of years. And it's okay because you're going to have more opportunities in a sense, because with the law of equilibrium, fewer sales, agents will start exiting the market. So don't you worry, stick with it and you're all good. Now, remember, we're having a 6 personal perspective. And as we've gone through these 6 strategies, we have touched on all of them, but the last one is number 1, which is committing to self-mastery. So when we are going to focus on helping buyers and sellers in the resetting of their expectations, it's about first starting with us. So we need to be working on our skills and our mindset so that we can become masters of this business and the local economist of choice and the business owner and the database manager, so that we allow our clients to see us as professionals. And that's what the whole point of this is. So this is great because I actually get to be at family reunion and have a presentation on making sure that your marketing message matches the current market. I added in some extra words to make it make more sense. But basically, this is exactly what Zach Younger and I will be teaching on, which is first we have to understand buyers' mindsets have changed in the past couple of years. It's been pretty tough for those buyers. You lived it and experienced it. So I don't even need to tell you what they went through. But here's what starts happening when there's a bit of a shift in the market. This means a little bit more inventory is creeping up. So days on market is happening, and maybe they can start asking for some concessions again that they hadn't been able to. But hold on, whoa, interest rates have gone up. So the buyers are super confused. So if you read through all of these, you will see that they're confused. There's some thoughts that are one way, and then at the same time, there's some that go the other direction. So they're stressed and confused. Our job is to acknowledge all of these different mindsets they could be having, and using our marketing and our messaging, whether it's talking to them on the phone or social media posts or newsletters, that you are addressing what their concerns could be. And now the same thing with our sellers. They could be really confused. Prices had gone up dramatically over the past couple of years, but maybe now not as much or not as fast, or maybe they've stabilized, or maybe it's not what they thought or expected. In this last market, they were selling as is. They didn't have to negotiate. They didn't pay for home warranties. In a market that's slowing down, buyers will get a little bit more power back. It might just become more of a balanced market is what it starts feeling like, is because a buyer may get a little bit off the price or get a home warranty paid for. I obviously just did a video with my home warranty rep, so that's fresh on my mind. But that's a win-win, really, if the seller's still able to achieve their financial goals and put the dollar amount in their pocket that helps them with their next move and what their goals are. And the buyer is able to qualify and find the home that checks all the boxes. That's a win-win for me. And that's what we want to be reminding our buyers and our sellers about. So as we acknowledge their thoughts, we know what they're thinking. We're talking to them every day, so we're hearing what they're saying. And so it's our job as the professional to hear them, and then to educate. Now, it's not to combat or tell them they're wrong. No, this is when the ultimate bedside manner is so important. Hearing their concerns, agreeing and affirming, oh, I totally understand. And I could see why you feel that way. You're right. And what we're finding is ... And so how can we educate? And then really it becomes any roadblocks that they may be having. It just becomes that we need to up our service. We need to up our communication, because real estate is, I love this down here at the bottom, real estate done right is service, not sales. There will be times when you talk with a buyer or seller and now is just not the right time for them. And you care about them, the person, more than the sale. And that is how you win and how you have a long-term business, is with a good reputation of not being salesy or pushy, about being caring and kind. And I promise you, it all comes back around. So successful people shift, always, continuously, relentlessly. High achievers are always changing, altering, and adjusting. I would like to think that I am pretty good at my job. And I know over the past couple of years, we got to reset and relearn and learn and unlearn all kinds of scripts and negotiations and conversations with buyers and sellers. And now it's just happening again because we're high achievers and we're going to always be shifting. So I'm good with it. This is a mindset thing too, right? So we got to get right. We got our mindset all wrapped around the ideas that we're going to be shifting. All right, cool. So what are we going to do? Now, this is when it gets really fun, because when we have fewer leads, fewer opportunities, it's just a fact, we will, then we must be really good at our skills. And so when it comes to sellers, pricing strategies are really important. And maybe staging needs to be the way to help them win the competition. You know, we used to always say, and maybe you'll start bringing this back into your conversations, but we would always say, we are in a pricing war and a beauty contest at the same time. So having your sellers understand they have to be the best price and the prettiest in the best condition, because there's only 3 things that a seller can control. No, there's only 3 things that go into selling a home: price, condition, and location. The price and the condition a seller can control and decide. They can't move the house. So the location is what it is. So if it's in a poor location, then the other 2 factors really have to be nailed inside of pricing and staging. Now, when it comes to energizing our buyers, we got to figure out ways to get some urgency going, because this could be a time when they're like, I'll just wait and see. I'm good. I'll just wait and see. I don't know what's happening. And then we can maybe help them get some lending options, maybe some creative financing stuff. Now, bulletproof the transaction is actually tactic 12 if you read the full book. And I really encourage you to reset and review as a team. If you have an administrative person in your world, this is when, now more than ever, the transactions will be fewer, and we cannot risk having them bust. It's just way too valuable. If we've gotten them to the point of being under contract pending, you've got to do everything in your power when it's appropriate to keep it together. Of course, if big things come up and it's not the best interest of your clients to continue, of course, you're a professional. But every other thing, though, we have to do our best to control it. So in our shifting market, we now see, this is where we've been, very extreme sellers market, right? And we were more focused on servicing those leads because we just had them. We had so many of them. But in a buyer's market, as it starts shifting, we're going to have to up the amount of time that we put into the generation of those leads. Of course, service still matters, don't forget. So here's the slide where it talks about the beauty of understanding a seller's market, a buyer's market, and a balanced market. So a seller's market, I don't know why that font is smaller. The seller's market, buyer demand exceeds supply. And that is defined as less than 5 months inventory. So go into your local market statistics. Our MLS does a great job. We have Matrix, maybe you have that one, and we get a monthly snapshot, and it's the previous month, of course, because the data had to be collected. And so just recently, our December numbers came out, and we were just still like 2.4 something supply of inventory, but it had creeped up from the previous month. So you want to be watching that, and then you can say, we are still a seller's market. We still have low inventory. However, it is going in the other direction. 5 to 7 months of balance is what they say. And then if you have been in the business long enough, you remember when it was more than 7 months supply of inventory, even like 8, 9, and 10 months supply. And that, again, is our very, very different conversations. And that's actually when this book was written. And that's why we are revisiting this again. So our goal is to representing a seller is to use pricing to empower them. Because here's what I have seen happen is that sellers believe one thing about their price, and then it's our job to help educate and help them achieve their goal of selling the home. I mean, what is the point of pricing the property at an unrealistic number that just sits on the market month after month after month? It's painful if you haven't been in that market before. Those are the worst weekly phone conversations ever. Realtors start disappearing. Whenever you have nothing new to share with your client about any activity, they're going to think that you need to do more marketing, do more open houses. But the number one answer is that their price is just too high. Now, this is a great graphic. It comes right from the book Shift. This is great, but this is not today's market. We are not in a increasing value market anymore. At least we aren't here in Tulsa. So this is really the graphic that you want to start mastering and understanding. See right here on the far left is day one on the market, and then it increases as you go to the right. Here's the average home prices here on the left. So what happens is a seller, when they start too high, I'm going to slide, well, I'll share this real quick. If they start too high, above what is fair market value, and you're going to help them gauge what that is, then they're going to have to do an adjustment, another adjustment, and it keeps going and going. And over time, do you ever remember this? You see a house sitting on the market, the sign's still there, month after month, and what do people start thinking? Something's wrong with it. What is wrong with that house? And it could be amazing. It could be an amazing condition and all these great amenities, and they just started too high. They just shot themselves in the foot, literally. Now they have to wait or reset or do something dramatic in order to get back in the right space for a buyer to see them as a good property. So what this graphic then, and this is great to even really master, you guys, I'm telling you, and maybe you've heard me say this before, but in the last market shift, I had these tactics on CD. That's how long ago it was. And I drove around with them in my car. So before a seller listing appointment, I listened to Tactic 7 over and over and over again. Before a buyer consultation, I listened to Tactic 9, which is all about creating buyer urgency over and over and over again. Tactic 7 is seller pricing strategies. And that's what this is. You are sharing with the seller. You know, I totally get it that you'd like to price your home here and see what we're seeing, because you're going to have provided the data. What we're seeing, though, is that your competition in your neighborhood, based on square footage and amenities and all of these things, is that your home should be priced more around this range. And you're going to have shared that with them. And they're going to go, yeah, but I just, I want to start here because you've heard it before. I don't want to give it away. I can always come down. You're going to go, yes, I understand that. I totally agree. I don't want you to give it away either. And if you are, I'll take it. I'll take it if you're giving it away. But my goal is to help you put the most amount of money in your pocket. And I have seen that when you start too high, and all the other homes in your area are priced here, a buyer will look at those homes first. So basically, when you price your home here, you're just selling all the other houses in your neighborhood. You're making them look so good because their price is less. And so what ends up happening, sellers, is that you have to readjust and readjust and readjust your price. Then over time, people start thinking something's wrong with your home, and nothing's wrong with your home. It's an amazing house. And so I would rather you price it at fair market value compared to your neighbors and your friends in the area with similar homes, so that you actually get to sell it at a higher price and put more money in your pocket. And most likely you'll sell even faster. So these are just the kinds of scripts that you guys are going to be sharing with your clients, is listening to and understanding these conversations. You don't have to reinvent the wheel or come up with something all on your own. It's already created for you. So there's lots of different ways of doing pricing. That could be a whole nother training class, but really sharing not just the sold comps, but I always would share the pendings and the actives as well, because this is showing competition. And now pricing becomes a strategy. How do you get picked first when there are more options out there? And there can be some grief. There's always this gap. What happens is the market adjusts and changes a little bit, and us realtors didn't realize it. So we give improper advice sometimes based on the past experiences, but now it's adjusted and now we've failed our clients. So just own it if that happens, because I've done it, and say, I'm sorry, we missed the market. And they're going to be probably in denial. They could be angry. They'll start bargaining, have some depression, but eventually they have to accept the reality of where they are. Here's some great staging stats. If you guys want to use this inside of your marketing, staging will possibly help your home stand out over others. There's different versions. You can have a professional come in and bring real furniture. We've always passed this on to the seller. It's not something that we pay for, but then we do pay for our local girl to go and meet with the clients for about an hour. She helps them go through each room and tell them some recommendations of what to go ahead and start pre-packing, things to do. It's never anything crazy. It might be just rearranging furniture, removing things from walls, very simple stuff, maybe painting extreme walls, things like that. But it does make a difference. Remember to share with your sellers that first window of opportunity, buyers are searching online. If they see something wonky or weird inside of a picture, they're never going to come in. We want them to come into the home. Okay, here's some good little staging formula. Plantings, paint and pictures, fixtures, and furnishings. This is fun. So if someone's going down the wrong road, he doesn't need motivation to speed him up. He needs education to turn him around. So this is really talking about our sellers that have gone down the wrong road of price. Maybe we're part of that, and we need to help them get real with it and just educate so that they can achieve their goals. Because here's what happens, and this is also from the Shift book as well. So you never know how to time the market. A buyer may be right here and they're going, I want to wait and see what's going to happen with the market. Maybe prices will go down, and they go, oh, prices down. Oops, never mind. I missed it. It's too late. And just the same with the height of the market. A seller will never be able to time it. And so we have to just be sharing with them as you can't time the market, but if now is the time, here's what it would look like for you. The buyer side also has some urgencies. This is where we're educating them, tapping into what they're really needing when it comes to buying a home, and how we can help them do it, right? I believe anything is possible in any direction. I strive for the possible. I go after what I want to have happen, but I prepare for the worst and I'm ready should things go wrong. Doesn't that sound like a beautiful affirmation? I believe anything is possible. And that's what we need to be doing. We need to be understanding anything is possible. So when it comes to bulletproofing the transaction, how can we get ahead of and prepare our buyers and sellers? So this is education, right? This is why a consultation matters. There should be parts in both your buyer and seller consultations that you are educating them in advance of all of these very important items that happen inside of a pending under contract property. Okay, things can come up and you're hiring me as your professional to stay one step ahead of all of this for you. The proactive part is huge. We are professionals and we need to have our own checklists and systems and not be waiting around on others. I remember earlier days, I've always got my earlier day stories, but I was afraid to reach out to the title company or the lender thinking, oh, I don't want to bug them. See, I always thought that way about all people. I don't want to bug them. They know their job. They're doing their part. But after you get burned a few times, you realize they could be busy. They could be inexperienced. They could just suck at their job. And it's my job to protect my client in the transaction. And they would appreciate you being proactive and proving to them you're worth every dang penny that you get to earn. Okay. I love the wrap ups at the end of each of these sections because I feel like they're a great way for us to evaluate and reevaluate who we are and how we're doing. So the questions for you would be, do you know your goals, your strengths, your weaknesses, and how to work with both of them to master the knowledge necessary to reach your goals inside of this new market? I know how to help sellers price their listings and sell in a shifted market. Go listen to Tactic 7. So I no longer have Shift on CD. I do somewhere, but I don't have a CD player, but download it on your Audible, on your audiobook. Download it and go right to those tactics and listen. And I swear to you, it will become the conversations that just come out of you. You're going to be, oh my gosh, I'm Gary Keller. Did you hear me just say that? It's amazing. So know how to address buyers' urgency or lack thereof. They're going to maybe go a little bit slower than they have because the rates are they're fine. So it's really going to need your help and them seeing that now is a great time. And here's why. I mean, the great conversations for sellers and buyers right now in January is that no matter what, seasonality occurs, and there will be more competition for buyers and sellers as we get into the spring market. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, every single year it happens, right? Right after, especially like into February and after spring break, dang, the whole world, it's just everybody's ready to go. So if somebody knows that they do have a need to move, back up their timeline, push it out into the future and help them see that it could be a great time now and what those benefits could be. Okay, I have a solid understanding of financing options. You don't have to be an expert. You just tap into your resources. Each week I've been doing videos with market experts. And so maybe this is a way for you to learn and then you share that content with your database. So now in our monthly newsletter, we've got whoever that market expert is. We have it on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, on our Instagram. And so we talk with the professionals in the market. I just talked with my lender friend, a home warranty rep, talked with the tax assessor, talked with an appraiser. And so I don't have to be the expert, but I'm providing the value and the content for my people to see that I'm a professional who works with experts. I am proactive in addressing issues that arise during any transaction. The worst thing you can do inside of a transaction is to stress out, for one thing. You have to be calm and cool, and you need to think through, aren't we problem solvers when it comes to pending transactions or issues that could arise? We're problem solvers. So you really need to watch your timing on sharing details with the client. If it's something that is detrimental to them buying or selling, yes, of course, you need to educate them as soon as possible. But sometimes things work out. And so you understanding that issues may arise, and I'm going to be proactive to find solutions before it gets out of control is always a super smart way to run your business. All right, your job in a shift is the same as it is in any market. You bring the buyers and sellers together. Win-win. It's amazing. And you want to work with buyers and sellers who are in on that agreement as well. Their mindsets can change, and you just need to be able to anticipate how they are changing and how you're going to address them. A shifted market creates a serious disconnect between the perception of buyers and sellers. The question you have to answer is, at what price? So you will see more conversations and more concessions that will happen in production. And I mean, of course, your market could be special and different, and that's great. So you be the expert for your area to know what is truly happening. And understanding buyer urgency and readiness is imperative in a shift. It's getting those buyers off the fence. If they do want to move, they're able to move, they have the motivation to do it, and they understand the current market. Well, let's go. Let's go. We have to keep staying educated. I know that many of you may be with Keller Williams and you'll attend family reunion. That's a great way for you to stay educated on what's going on in our market and beyond. This is what we talked about over these past 3 weeks, all these 6 strategies. They're great little snapshots and reminders of how you're going to succeed in any market and whenever it starts to evolve and change as well. So let's just pause right there and just hear a few ahas or questions or anything that you guys want to implement into your business during this adjusting little market. What you guys think?
Well, I love the reminders of the, oh my God, the soft close, the hard close.
Yeah.
That was awesome because it shows me how to word things differently than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So I
Don't
really
we get
like
kind
that.
of in a rut sometimes, Valerie?
Right. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
that was my biggest aha. And then, you know, in a shift, we just have to remind ourselves to stay focused on time block. So what I've been doing is time blocking, which is really hard for me. But like 10 minutes to clean a drawer and, you know, to call people and to write my notes. So that has helped me tremendously.
Yeah. It's the focus.
Yeah.
And it allows you to, Valerie, when you know, well, that's on my calendar, but it's not right now. Because my brain, I think of something and I want to just go switch to it right away because I don't want to forget. But if you place it into your calendar into the future, that's a placeholder for you to remember. Is that just me that I'm getting near 50?
Yeah. No, it chunking it down makes it easier to attack versus like this huge long list. And it's like, where do I start? So yeah. Thank you.
I love that. That's awesome. Anything else, Mindy? You got anything to wrap up?
Mine is getting more of the leads to begin with
Yeah.
and not letting things fall through the cracks. I just cleared off 2 whiteboards that I have. They're small. One is a blue frame, one is a white frame. And I was writing down, one is for listings, and I wrote down addresses of people that, oh my God, I really need to follow up better on. And then there's the other one on the buyers, and it dawned on me, oh my goodness, I completely forgot about so-and-so and put them on there because they can be in command and I can ignore that.
Yes.
But seeing it on the whiteboard and it's in my office where I have to, I mean, it's when I walk into my office, it's sitting on a bench right there. I mean, there's just no ignoring it.
Mindy, you are so right. And I feel like with technology, we've kind of dropped the ball on using these tried and true reminders, whether it's a whiteboard or just a lead sheet, I literally would carry around, and I still would if I was in the production. I would have my buyer lead sheet or my seller lead sheet with all of the information from that conversation, and I carried them around inside of a folder so I would not forget them.
Yeah, I
Right?
find when I'm putting things on paper, I end up with so many papers that I just put them in a pile and then
Yeah.
look through the pile again.
But then what you would do though is you would touch them each morning. So that's the time block then, like Valerie saying she has time block. So your first time block of the day is open up the folder or look at the lead list. And I'm going to look through all of them and see who do I need to talk to. Okay, if not. And so like when I would have these pieces of paper, if they've kind of fallen off or now they're more of just a nurture, then I make sure they're all set up inside of our CRM. They've got their action plan and their tags, and I'll just remember them down the line when it's time. But the hot leads were like in my hand. I'm not forgetting you, not
Right.
forgetting you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for hanging out and going a little over today. I know that's a lot of info and not the best, really engaging conversation because I'm just throwing all this at you. Thank you for letting me practice because I'm presenting this in person in Tulsa next week. And so this was my way to kind of get through the material, but it's such good material.
Definitely. I took a lot of screenshots.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Well, I appreciate you guys. I'll share the video if you want to ever watch it again. And I think, thank you, Valerie, for the reminder. I think we all need the reminder of the different forms of closes to kind of practice different strategies because we get so in a rut of what we always say. Let's find some new ways to get to the appointment. So thank you guys. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.